I'd say it had nothing to do with me, Shane. The only reason why I touched on the situation was because of the people that were belittling Underworld Bill. So I just touched on it, but I wasn't trying to talk the situation up. I wasn't trying to glorify prison. But serious, I was actually just trying to highlight the fact that Underworld Bill got, but he walked out of there. You know, like even though Aki. What's his name? Montana come out. I think he come out yesterday. Syndicate put up a video of him saying that that he threw a hit at Underworld Bill's head and missed, and then he went running to the office. So I think I'll touch on it. So Underworld Bill's had his say. Montana's had his say from T, Aki, and I've had my say, you know, so I don't really want to touch on it anymore. I had nothing to do with it. The only reason why I got involved was because of the rubbish that was being said online and about Underworld Bill, you know, like even though I didn't know him and I didn't spend time with him, just the fact that people were belittling him is the reason why I got online. And I exposed that fact, and the fact that I exposed is he went hard for his people, and it doesn't matter. It's not about win or lose. It's the fact that you were willing to go hard for your people, because back then the racial wars were very bad. And if you guys watched Montana's video, I've only seen just like probably about half an hour ago. That's when I chose to go live. This video out there, then Underworld Bill and I could have said whatever we wanted, you know. But now that Montana's come up and said his, so I don't know. Let me put it this way, yeah. He, like I said to you guys, when I was there back then, I was sitting in the cage, yeah. And I said, "Kill, Cassie Fams," and then this broke out. I was actually facing the opposite way, and then when it broke out, I turned around, me and the old Lebanese man. That's Cassie, appreciate you guys. And it is what it is. Like what happened that day happened, and I don't know. Like from what I was hearing when Montana was speaking on his video, it seemed like he was not vouching for what I said, which is all good. He didn't know me, I didn't know him, you know, Lani. But one thing that like he did say, yeah, I saw the two guys that was in. Yes, I was one of the guys that was in there, yeah. But let me just make one thing clear, yeah. When I spoke about this situation, I wasn't trying to, how do I put it? I wasn't trying to put the limelight on myself by using Montana's name. I wasn't trying to put the limelight on myself by using Underworld Bill's name. I literally only just spoke about it because everyone was belittling that Underworld Bill, you know, and I was there when it happened, all right? And yes, all the Lebo boys rushed to the office and that, but it's none of my business. Like all I was explaining was the fact that the Underworld Bill got pretty bad, and he walked out of there. He didn't get stretchered out, you know. And from Montana's video I was watching, it seems like he doesn't remember when I came there, which is all right, because of course he's right. I was a freshie back then, yeah. But let me tell you something. When the squad took me over there was not one point ever where I said he was taking me over so Montana can take care of me. No, I said they took me over to Pod 9 where all the older boys were, and that's where I met Montana. My cellmate, when I first walked in there, was a guy named Sifa Sarkisi, yeah, Tongan guy. That's who I was with. That's the first person I met when I walked in there. Eddie, Fijian, and the other Eddie that was involved in this stuff. We played 41 together when I was there, and that's a kill. Larry, appreciate you guys. Love yous. You know, so when this incident broke out, there was a situation that happened the day before where the Islander boys got called together. Now, again, what I didn't explain is the little details. And like I said to you guys, it's none of my business. So I'm not going to sit here and explain every single little detail. I was just backing up Bill because he was getting belittled. And just to highlight this to all of you people out there that's been jumping on this bandwagon that's been going a little viral, yeah? There's people like myself. I went hard for the Islanders. There's people like Montana. He went hard for the Islanders, yeah? But we had, like Montana said, we had no issues with the peoples that we were attacking or going against. This was all stuff that happened in the 90s, but it was stuff that was necessary because there was racial wars going on at the time, all right? And and it's beyond me that when people start hearing this stuff, like they think that it's like a movie, you know what I mean? But this was actual real life stories that was happening inside prison and in Australian prisons. And for those of you who don't know, the Australian prisons started going very violent around about, facts only, love ya, around about the 90s, you know. That's when the racial wars broke out. But love you, I appreciate you guys. But the thing is, what I got to highlight is when I got called to go to a room, it was from a Samoan guy that was there at the time. So on Montana's video, he said that there was 3 of them that took on everyone. All right, so let me refreshen Montana's JC, appreciate you, memory. All right. When I got brought over there, it was because of the incident that happened in Darcy. Got into Pod 9, I was introduced to Sifasakisi, went 2 out with him, and then I met the other boys, and then I met Montana as well. So when I used to see Montana, he used to walk around the basketball court throwing punches like this, yeah? And I used to think to myself, like, bro, I've never seen this in my life. Like, this guy used to walk up and down, throwing the same punches, yeah? And to me, I didn't thought anything of it. Because remember, Nasakel, I appreciate you, I was a nobody when I come into prison. Yeah, I had a big name in juvie, but I went from juvie to prison, yeah? And now that I was in prison, love ya, facts only. Now that I was in prison, my reputation, my name meant nothing, you know? And so when I got in there, I didn't know who was who, but all I understood was that I had to make sure to be careful because the squad had already warned me about this thing called racial wars, which I had no knowledge of, you know? The squad members were the ones that taught me about racial wars, then took me to Pod 9 so I could be with the Islander boys that were over there. And now this is where I got a refreshing Montana's memory, because when I walked in there, I was hanging out with the other boys. I never went to him once, never spoke to him once, but there was one stage before this brawl happened where he grabbed me and the other Samoan guy and showed me photos, and it was photos of all the Goulburn boys. And I was in awe because I was a young kid, you know, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Just all big, muscly boys inside these photos. You know? And that was the one time that I spoke to him. And now on his video, he's saying something that goes along the lines of, this guy said, we called him we went to his room, and then we had a meeting, and then but maybe it happened, but why would it happen? Because we don't know who he is. This is how Montana said it, yeah? But I don't know where in my video he got these words from, because not once did I ever say the boys came to my cell. Remember, I was 2 out with Sifasakisi. I got called to go over to where they were, all right? And I didn't speak to no one. I didn't walk in and high-five anyone. I didn't know anyone, right? And I didn't care about anyone. All I cared about was myself and my safety. I didn't know nothing about the Islander wars with the Kooris and Lebos. I didn't know anything about racial wars. And it was the Samoan guy that grabbed me who told me to come with him. And I didn't sit in when they were talking about this stuff. I was just standing there while they were having this little discussion, yeah? And this Samoan guy was explaining to me that the next day they were going to attack the Libos. So just to refreshen Montana's memory, that's how it happened. That's how I found out, because I was in the wing doing my own thing, and then I got dragged over to that cell from the Samoan guy, and he was explaining to me that this is what happened. Now, Montana says that there was 3 of them that did the attacking, and it was 3 of them versus the rest. All right. When Montana walked over and did what he did, the Punch Bowl boys, or let's not even say Punch Bowl boys. There was a lot of Punch Bowl boys. Let's just say the Lebanese boys, yeah? Tim, appreciate you. The Lebanese boys turned around and obviously backed up their people when the drama kicked off. It off, all right? Far, appreciate you, Chris. But when everything broke out and then everyone was like was running left, right, and center, and people were getting got, the Samoan guy that took me to that cell when they were talking about the thing that was going to happen the next day, Tim, he was involved. So that's just something I need to highlight to Montana. It wasn't just you 3. That Samoan guy also jumped in and he was attacking as well. Bell, Tim, and I also explained that there was a Tongan guy there who was standing around and he didn't get involved, and he got jumped at Park Lee for not getting involved. All right. So these are the little things that I didn't bring up because it's none of my business, So this situation is between Underworld Bill and Montana. When I spoke about it, I was just highlighting facts, all right? So when I said that the Lebanese boys got demolished, it was because I was there. And that's exactly what happened. And then the repercussions from the Lebo boys at Pod 9 getting demolished was what happened to the Islander boys later on in the Long Bay, And there was not one word I ever said in my last video or the video before that highlighting what's called Montana's name to be on a pedestal where I was the person who was there and witnessed it, and I want to tell his story. I don't want to tell your story. I don't even want to tell Underworld Bill's story. I was only there. I only got involved into this conversation because so many people were rubbishing Underworld Bill's name. And to all you idiots out there that were rubbishing his name, let me tell you something. You can think all you want about Bill, me, and Montana, yeah? But Bill, if it wasn't for him, like, Lebanese wouldn't have a foot to stand on today, He's one of the frontline soldiers for the Lebanese boys, as well as many other Lebanese boys. This is the reason why the Lebanese boys had a stronghold in prison, all right? And if it wasn't for boys like Montana and all the other Islander boys, the Islander boys never would have got a stronghold in prison as well. Hence, the 4 main nationalities in prison: the Kooris, the Asians, the Islanders, and the Lebanese boys. So I'm not here trying to tell you war stories of the old school boys. So get it through your heads that when I explain something, it's because I was in and amongst it, and I was there when it happened. But it's none of my business, so I'm not going to give any little details. I'm not going to go and tell you, oh, the Lebos all ran to the office. I'm not going to go and tell you, oh, Montana jumped after he stabbed old mate. Like, I know the big guy that Montana's talking about. And yes, he was as big as that guy on Troy. Like, this Lebanese guy was massive, bro. I don't even want to mention his name because he might be living an honest life today, you know what I mean? But this is the thing. When you're going to go make a video, just remember, like, this was back in 2002, and yes, these boys that were involved in this thing with Montana, staunch, they fought for the islanders. NASA, Brooke, appreciate you guys. And you can't take it away from them. If it wasn't for these boys, the islanders wouldn't have had a stronghold. So I always give my respect to boys like Montana and the rest of the boys like Feno, Julius, Dave Tafua. I could mention a whole heap of names that came from the 90s and they were the reason that we were untouchable inside prison, And when I say untouchable, I just mean like untouchable as in people knew not to F with us. Butterfly, pelican, appreciate you. It's just the same as the Will Star, pelican, love yous. Just the same as Underworld Bill and the many boys that came before him. Imad Sleeman, the Kalachi brothers. Like, there is so many Lebanese names that I can tell you. And there was also Assyrian boys that used to back up the Lebanese boys, yet they were Christian. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not here to try to tell anyone's story. So when the bro Montana come on here and said, oh, I don't know whether what he's saying, he didn't say my name, but I know he was talking about me, yeah? Because I don't know if what he was saying was right, because why would we even talk to him? I said, bro, where did you get that from? Not once did I ever say that in a live, you know? All I said was my incident that happened at Darcy. The squad gave me the heads up on how jail works, and then he moved me over to 9 Pod where the older boys was. Not once did I ever say, oh, and then the squad moved me over so Montana could take care of me. When did I say that? Not once, all right? So this is what I'm saying. Like, everyone's trying to change narratives. Everyone's trying to highlight their names. And then I'm getting thrust into this limelight, and I'm like, bro, it's freaking none of my business. I don't care about this situation. Like, this was your guys' war, you know? I was an 18-year-old kid, and I had just come in. I was a freshie. I was a nobody inside prison. You know, if the Islanders had asked me to get involved, I would have got involved. You know, because during juvie, coming up as a kid, mate, I was taking on a lot of older boys to make a name on the streets. I was taking on a lot of older boys. So it wouldn't have been hard for me to get involved if they asked me to, but they never did. That's why I got a lot of respects for boys like Montana and Fijian Eddie and that, you know, and also that Samoan guy. I have no idea what his name is, but the reason why I'm mentioning this Samoan guy, because he was the one that was still screaming and going on when the Lebanese boys had all ended up inside that office because they were getting away from all the sheaves that had come out when the brawl broke out. And there was, like, back then at Silverwater, there's mirrors on your wall, yeah? And today, those mirrors are plastic. Yeah, like you can't rip it off. It's very hard to take off. That's a kill. But back then, the mirrors were actually glass. So what the boys used to do is they used to break it off, and then they would, put whatever around it to hold it so they got a handle, and they would use the glass as a weapon, you know? And I remember the first time I seen it, I was like, bro, why is there all glass everywhere? And I didn't realize this is what a lot of boys were doing, you know, breaking down the glass. And then obviously that got taken away and they put up plastic mirrors. And it is what it is, you know, like the fact that inmates create these issues for themselves, yeah? Like inside prison, there was so much good when I came in. We were able to get bananas. We were able to get bok choy. We were able to get meat, like any type of meat, and pizzas. Like there used to be boxes of pizzas. All this stuff was cracker, yeah. And we also got to get, have protein. And the reason why a lot of these stuff got taken off inmates was because of issues like this, yeah. And free weights. So there was free weights at Silverwater, and then during an incident where the Asians had used the weights to attack someone, they took the free weights away from Silverwater. So, you know, like, criminals can sit inside prison and complain all they want because they're not getting stuff. But let me tell you something. I've done a long time, yeah? Been in and out pretty much more than half my life. And we always had good things like free weights, long phone calls. Also, when I say long phone calls, I mean like you could go on and off, on and off. Like these days, you got Lux phone calls because you got iPads. But this is only because if something happens again, like another pandemic, they're ready for it. This is why they brought iPads out. It wasn't to give inmates luxury. And at the end of the day, when you're punished and you go to prison, so you're locked away from society. you know. And when they lock you away, the hope is that you change your life and you come out and be a better man. So to everyone out there that's been on the bandwagon with this story about Underworld Bill and Montana, and obviously the racial wars that was happening back then, understand I had nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with it. Johnny Syndicate, and I only came out and spoke up because of the people that were belittling Bill, because a lot of them were his own people, like other Lebanese guys, especially young guys, from what I was seeing, that were leaving comments saying that he was a nobody and this, that, yeah? So I came out because I was like, bro, that guy, he copped it. He copped it a lot and he gave a lot, but he did it for his people to make sure that his people had a stronghold in prison, just the same as Montana and the rest of the other boys that came, you know, and went. Other than that, I don't want to touch on that subject ever again. I don't want to talk about that incident ever again. And it is what it is. Yo, facts only, Anthony. Appreciate you guys. Like, it is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, do you. I'm not trying to tell any of you what to do, you know. But let me tell you something. When you end up inside prison, I promise you, none of your boys are going to be there for you. They're all going to disappear one by one. If you're doing these jobs for money, like, have a think about it. $50,000 that you're getting paid to do this job, is that worth it? If you get caught and you end up getting 10 to 20 years, is $50,000 worth it? This is what I had to look at. Yeah, I'm sitting here and talking to you guys honestly. Like, right now, Anderson official. Right now, I'm only just talking to the younger generation and the young adults. I've been there and I've done it. Yeah, I've lived this life. And when I had a look back at it, I thought to myself, wow, how stupid was I? Like, everything I had done throughout my life, so it wasn't worth it, you know what I mean? Like, all right, let me hit it. I did, when I first came to prison, I did 3.5 years straight. Then I did 10 years straight. Then I did 7 years straight, yeah? Oh, sorry, the first one was 4.5 years. And then the second one was 10 years, and then the third one was 7 years. Let me put it this way to all you youngsters out there. How much is that? There's 10 years, 7 years. That's 17 years that I did, plus 4.5 years. 18, 19, 20, 21. So 21.5 years, yeah, is the amount of time that I lost my young adult life here. I lost it all right? Nothing to be proud of. I'm going to tell you guys a story here, and this is a story about Tongan, and his name is Chris, all right? So this Tongan guy, we're at Silverwater. First time I met him, and he was just a kid off the street who ran amok, same as every other Islander kid, yeah? And I got along with him, and obviously there was other boys there with me and him. There was a guy now who I consider an opposition. His name is Joel Ropia, and this Tongan kid's name was Chris King. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's his name, all right? Now, we were all there, and there was koori boys that was there as well, who were frontline soldiers for the koori boys. And while I was there, I ended up going to court. And while I was at court, an incident occurred. So there was a few Tongan boys in there, and there was a few Māori boys in there. One of those Tongan boys was Chris King, but I think he's half caste. I'm pretty sure he's half caste. And then Joel Ropia, he's massive, like he's tall and he was big, you know. So I go to court, do what needs to be done at court, and I come back, and then when we come back, we get locked straight into our cell because it's nighttime when we come back from court. Come morning, I walk out of my cell, and who's standing at my door? Nasa. Who's that? Kalachi. Kalachi. My man, Anthony. And the Islander boys were standing in front of my cell, and these were all like the younger guys, you know, and I was like, yo, what's going on? They're like, oh, also we have to tell you something. And I said, what happened? And Chris King, he had like it's like a band-aid sort of thing across his face, yeah. And there was no Samoan boys there. It was just Chris, 2 other Tongan boys, and 2 Māori boys. And I said to them, what happened? He starts explaining a story, yeah. And that's that an incident occurred the day before while I was at court, and the koori guy came with a Ibshe and shanked him, boom, straight in the face up here, yeah? That's Nick. Now remember, Chris just came to prison, so yeah, he's a staunch guy on the outside, but on the inside, it's a different story. Oh, Glachi. So when he came in, the incident that occurred, he ended up getting abstayed by the young koori fella, and mate, it hit like this part here. Yeah, he's lucky it didn't go into his eye because it came in, went and straight up, but it missed his eye. It just got him right here. Yeah, and I said to him, "Are you alright?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, and I looked at Joel because obviously he's the biggest Islander there, real. And I had nothing to do with it. I was at court. Yeah, but these Islander guys waited for me to come back from court, and then I was like, "So what happened?" I go, "Did you do something about it?" And I looked at Joel, and he was like, "Nah, we were waiting for you. They're waiting for me." And I looked at Chris, and Chris goes, "Oh, you know, we didn't want to kick off any drama, like without telling you first." And I was like, "Wait, hang on a sec." Like this in my head, I was thinking, what's it called? You know, you got stabbed, and the first thing you do is like go on with it, yeah. I remember these boys, I'm pretty sure all of them, it was like their first time in, except Joel. He'd been in and out. He was like the oldest one out of all of them. And when they came over to me and said this, I was a bit dirty because I was like, fuck, you know, I just want to kick back and relax. These youngsters just brought drama to my table, you know, and what am I gonna freaking do? Like, I can't just stand there and leave it, because then every Aboriginal is gonna look at us and think that we're weak, you know, and you can't have that in prison. If someone puts you down, you have to do what needs to be done. And don't forget, when I'm telling you guys this story, I'm not trying to glorify a gang or jail life. I'm just telling you this story because there's a reason, you know, learning curve. So after the Islander boys told me what happened, I said to them, all right, follow me. We'll go confront the situation. All the koori boys knew that I was gonna come, obviously because I was a part of the racial war, but now there was no racial war, there's no racial tension. Everything was done and dusted. It was just bikies that were going to war inside prison, yeah. But obviously the boys that got Chris, one that got him was koori, and his protection was from the koori boys. And so when I walked towards their door, I remember one of the young fellas saying to me, he goes, "Oh, Uzo," he goes, "you know the Aboriginal boys?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "They told us to make sure we don't tell you what happened." I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Oh, because they were saying if you tell Pete, like there's gonna be a war." And I was like, far out, right? Anyway, I just kept walking, and I walked straight into the cell where all the koori boys were sitting around. There was about 8 of them sitting in a semicircle, yeah. And there was a Aussie guy named Billy who followed me. All right. Now, as soon as so in my head, I've got Billy with me, and I've got these young Islander boys, and including Joel. Joel's the biggest bloke that was there. But when I got to the cell door, the first thing I said to one of the koori boys is like, "Hey, what happened yesterday?" And he goes, "Huh?" I go, "What happened yesterday with the Islander boys?" I go, "Why has one of my Islander boys got something over his eye because he got abstayed, you know?" And then he looked at me, he goes, "Pete, bro," he goes, "it wasn't us, it was the young guys, you know?" And I said, "Well, we're not going to let that go." And I said, "Mate, grab your young guy, and your young guy is going to fight my guy." And he was, "Come on, Pete, bro, like, our guy's small, your guy started it." And I go, "What do you mean my guy started it?" He starts explaining to me, the koori guy, that Chris was the one threatening him through the cell door during a lock-in, and then the kid was intimidated, so he went and got his Ivshay, and then came and snuck go Chris, and that's how Chris ended up with Sabu. Nuclear, woo, my man. And while the Koori boys were explaining this, I could tell that all the Koori boys were on edge, because they either had Ivshays or like ready to go, because they weren't all over the place inside the wing like they usually are, just relaxing, doing their time peacefully. When the next morning hit, all of them congregated in that one room, and I walked straight over there. So obviously they were expecting me to come over, you know. And while I was like talking to these Koori boys, and they explained the story to me, I turned around to tell Chris, like, oi, is it true what they're saying? But guess what? When I turned around, the only person that was backing me up was Billy, the Aussie guy. He was like behind me on my left side, you know. And I looked around, and I seen Chris and Joel all standing like near the stairs, which was pretty far from where I was. And I was like, hang on a sec, this is not my drama, and I'm over here talking on your guys' behalf, and you guys are standing like freaking 10, 15 meters away from me, you know. And yeah, maybe they were standing over there because they were getting ready to back me up, but mate, I'm going over there to confront these Aboriginal boys for your situation. You should be behind my back, watching my back, you know. But they were standing like 20 meters away from me. So anyway, the Aussie brother Billy that was with me, he stood staunch by my side the whole time, and he never left my side while I was talking, you know. And I said to the Koori brothers, I go, look, I don't want no racial wars to come out of this again. I said, I don't want no issues. But the young fella that came with the Ivshay, he should have came from the front, but he came from the side. And I go, now Chris has got friggin' a mark on his face. And I go, mate, imagine if Chris went home with friggin' one eye to his family. You know, this is what I'm saying. Now, I don't care how small that kid is. Get him into a cell. Chris is going to come, and them two can have a fair one-on-one. That's it. James, Nasa, appreciate you guys. And then the Koori guys said, yeah, sweet, we're going to go talk it out. Koori boys went from pod 10 we were in. Yeah, it was pod 10. They went over to the pod 9 boys, started explaining the situation. The pod 9 Koori boys called me over, obviously, because CJA and Glamour, appreciate you guys. The Koori boys in pod 9 called me over, obviously, because we're all from the racial war era. And when I walked over to talk to them, they're like, Pete, like, bro, what's going on, man? Like, why are you trying to put it on our boys? And I'm not trying to put it on your freaking boys. And I turned to the one that was talking, like, bro, am I trying to put it on you? He goes, nah. I guess, bro, I wasn't saying Pete was trying to put it on us. I was just saying, like, he wants us to organize this, the young fella to have the one-on-one. But, bro, the bloke that Pete wants him to fight, he's massive, because Chris was a big boy, you know? And then the Koori boys from pod 9, they turned around and said, look, Pete, bro, that's an unfair fight. And I said, I don't care. I go, look, either that happens, or I'm going to give you the Ivshay. You guys give it to the young fella, and he can fight me. I go, I'll have no Ivshay. I said, I'll give him that. We can have a one-on-one. He can have that in hands. But tell him, if he takes that option, then you better make sure that he does damage, because if I take it off him, I'm going to fucking finish the job. And then I said to him, so you tell him that when he comes here, he has two options. Have an Ivshay and fight me, or he can go fight Chris one-on-one. Anyway, we walked away. We left it at that. And then the Koori boys walked over and said, yeah, he chose to fight Chris. I said, all right, sweet. I go, just have a fair one-on-one, and we'll leave it at that. Like, we don't want this thing to break out into other prisons, because that's what used to happen back in the days. If a brawl or Abingstay or something happens in one prison, it'll break out in all the prisons. That's how it was back then. So we all gather in front of a cell, and Chris goes in. Remember, Chris is a big boy. Now, the name of the Koori that he was fighting was Feather. If all of you don't know, Feather is the young Aboriginal kid that became Muslim. He was known for running around Abingstay, a lot of boys inside prison. And that was his claim to fame, you know. Like, he wouldn't hesitate. He would always put one in you if you F around with him. And he's small. So Feather is the one that ended up bumping into Bas Hemsey. He became a Muslim. He ended up joining BFL. And obviously BFL was a massive gang back then. And then fast forward many years later, Feather ended up snitching in Bass Hemsey's whole operation, yeah? So the cops only knew about certain things when it came to BFL. And BFL, like, you had Fired Kwame, who was running one side, and you had Bass Hemsey's side, which was LC, Little Crazy, who was running another side. These guys had a big internal drama, and then there was a lot of ooting shows and stuff that happened. And these boys ended up doing long time fight, asking me to talk about Fired Kwame. But look, if you really want, I can explain certain situations. But as you guys know, Fired Kwame has been through a lot. I can't tell his whole story in friggin' one live. Like, this guy's story is so big. It's just like Bass Hemsey. His story is so massive. Just like Nick Kanan, his story is so massive. You know, if I say something about these boys, I can only say certain stories. Also, a brother named Abusar Sultani. This guy's the brother's doing life now. You know, I think it's triple life he's doing, and I can tell Abuzar's story. But the problem is, the bloke's got a massive story. There was a big massive story that just came on TV about Abuzar Sultani, and I'm not going to sit here and try to explain his whole criminal story because it's too much. And so I'll tell little increments here and there. But let's go back to this situation. The one-on-one was about to happen inside the cell, and Chris is way too big. So when the young Feather, who was a skinny little koori kid, went to have the one-on-one with him, Chris threw him around, beat him up, dropped him probably about 5 times. And then the reason why the rounds ended up being 5 rounds was because every time Feather got dropped, the crew boys tried to say that's enough. And I was like, nah, again, like that. Round 2, he got dropped again. And then the crew boys tried to stop him. I was like, nah, round 3. And I would pull Chris to the corner and I would whisper in his ear, F this cunt up. I said, you almost lost your eye. F him up. So every time Chris would go in and fight him again, but Chris would just keep dropping him and dropping him. So probably about 5 to 6 times that Chris dropped him, yeah? And then that's when I was satisfied that it wasn't even, because obviously he used the Ivshay into fucking Chris's eye. But at the end of the day, Chris was satisfied with the fact that he got his little revenge, and the Koori boys were happy that, and I was happy as well. The Koori boys and I were happy that this drama didn't break out in the wing and then end up breaking out into all the prisons. That's it. So that incident was finished, all right? And then as I was about to leave Silverwater, Chris was very thankful, like telling me that he was very grateful for what I did for him. No one else was willing to stand with him because, you know, when he got abstayed, the other boys should have jumped in straight away and attacked, but everyone just stood there. No one did anything for him, you know, and then they waited for me the next day to come out of my cell so they could confront me with this situation. Anyway, Chris said to me, if you need anything, let me know, and he gave me his phone number. I went on doing my time because I was serving 10 years at the time, yeah? I went on to do my time, and then one day I was sitting at Goulburn, and someone said, hey, someone wants to talk to you. And I said, who's that? He goes, Chris King, he's on the phone. I haven't called him in a few years since he went home. Astro! I get on the phone, I'm like, yo, what's happening, bro? And he starts saying to me like, oh, bro, I haven't forgotten you. Just wanted to say hello. Yeah, I'll go, fuck, man. I remember who you are, and I appreciate it. And he goes, is there anything you need? And this is the funny part. Is I go, you know what? Stuff it. I go, bro, I went out of my way for him. I'm going to ask for something. I said, bro, can you do me a favor? Can you send me $50? It was only $50, yeah? And he goes, yeah, 100%. Anyway, 4 years later, I never saw these $50. VIA, appreciate you. VI, yeah, butterfly, love ya, appreciate you. This $50 never came, and then I ended up getting in touch with him again years later, and I said to him, bro, you know, Blues, all I asked for was $50. I go, and after everything I did for you, I thought the least you could do was just send $50. I go, and you didn't even do that, you know. Facts only, Blues, love you. Anyway, I go to him, bro, just leave it at that. It's all good. I don't want nothing, you know. Like, it's all good, bro. It is what it is. So the reason why I'm telling you guys this story, to all you youngsters out there, to all the young adults out there, just get it through your head, boys. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Whoa, backs only, love you, nuclear, you the boys. All I'm saying is, you know, you feel right now like you're invincible because you're on the street doing what needs to be done, yeah? You feel like you're untouchable. Trust me, no one is untouchable. Like, anyone can get touched. Nuclear, doesn't matter what type of name you got, yeah? And when you go inside prison, you're going to end up like Chris. You know, normal, innocent guy that, yeah, ran amok on the outside. Nuclear, Blues, facts only, appreciate you. And out of the Blues, you might cop what freaking Chris cop, you know, abs straight into the face. And this is what I'm saying. All you younger generation out there that's running amok, if what happened to Chris happens to you, yeah, remember this. When you're inside prison thinking you're a hard guy and something happens to you, there could be a big chance that you go home with only one eye. Eva! Yeah, that girls. You know, and this is what could have happened to Chris, you know. Yes, he can defend himself. Yes, he can fight, but he didn't expect it. It's the unexpected. That's what you got to worry about, you know. You know, when you're expecting certain people to bump into certain people and you're going to have a crack or you're going to go to war, yeah, that's easy. That's the easy stuff. It's the unexpected stuff inside prison that you got to worry about, you know. And I said this so many times to Chris when he was having this one-on-one. Bro, make sure you axe this bloke because he almost sent you home blind in one eye and annihilated this bloke, you know. And, you know, to all you younger generation out there, like, look what happened. You know, I went above and beyond for Chris. He wasn't my mate or anything. Like, he was a good guy, but I went above and beyond for him because he was a younger islander that needed help. And this is what I did back then. You know, there was no older boys when I was in that took care of me. You know, they all stuck their chin up at me and pretty much friggin' I did my time on my own, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying, like, this is what you younger guys are going to go through when you go inside prison, you know? You're not just watching your back from your enemies. You're not just watching your back from screws when they're jumping you, you know? You're going to be watching your back from from guys who are trying to sniper your misses. You're going to be watching guys, your back, from guys on the outside who are trying to sniper your sister, you know? You can't be in control. When you're inside prison, you have no control whatsoever, yeah? All that's going to happen to you is that you're going to sit in there making your little gangster reputation, and then when you get out, it's going to be repetitive. You're going to do the same thing, and you end up in, out. Well, I'm only telling you this because this is what happened to me. The stupid me, this is what happened to me. You know what I mean? And look at what happened with me and Chris. I went above and beyond for the bro, and all I asked for was $50 and I never got it, yeah? So I don't care about that situation. I don't care about the $50. It is what it is. Chris was young. I'm 100% sure that if Chris was my age and the same age as me and I had asked him, 100% he would have given it because he was outside. It's not like I was asking him and he was in jail. He was outside. And if someone like Chris couldn't even give me $50 after I went above and beyond for him, what makes you think that you're going to get boys who are ordering you to do Erdemaze, who's ordering you to do Uding shows? What makes you think that they're going to go above and beyond for you while you're inside prison? Tell me that. You know what I mean? Like, this is where it's at right now. Like, I'm just stipulating the fact that I don't want you guys going to prison, but if you go to prison, this is what's going to happen. They're all going to leave you with it, yeah? Especially the older boys who used you to go and do those their bidding. You know, I'll just stick by you, your parents, 100%. You know, parents, missus, like wives, they're the ones who are going to end up doing it hard when you go inside prison. They're the ones who do the time. Nurse, Nessa, love you. Like everyone can sit around and do this gang rubbish, but at the end of the day, it's those who love you most. They are the ones who will end up getting hurt. You know, when you're inside prison, you're getting 3 meals a day. You got security. You know, like you know, the little internal dramas, it can be stopped by officers when you get chucked in Segro. But outside, like, mate, all our family members, Nasa, Adam, appreciate you guys. All our family members, they're the ones who are going to be struggling with because of your stupidity. Yeah, who am I to talk? You know, I'm just explaining these stories with the hope that you learn from it. But I put my parents through hell. I put my family through hell. And that's the reason why I'm telling you guys these stories, because I don't want you guys to end up in prison and then this is what your families go through. Trust me, that little bit of money that you're making from these things that you're doing, it's not worth it. And I'm not trying to tell you guys to go get a 9-to-5 job, bro. It's the era of technology. I say this time and time again. Crichton, love ya. Thank you, Murray. Appreciate you. That you guys are so lucky. User of the era of technology. You can get online and learn how to make big money. All you got to do is focus, you know, and you can find something that you want to do, and you can friggin' figure out ways to execute, so you can be able to have that life that you want. Back in my day, or back in our parents' day especially, we couldn't go and learn things like that on the street or on our phones. We had to pay for an education. You know, if you wanted to learn things like producing music, you know, if you wanted to learn things like being a chef and all that, you had to go to either TAFE or university, and you had to pay for it. Now you don't even have to pay for it. You just get on YouTube, learn how to be a chef, learn how to produce, learn how to this and that and this and that. And it's so easy to be able to make money. That's all I'm saying to you guys. Like, you know, you're putting not only your life at risk, you're also risking your family's life. Get it through your head. You know, like I told a story the other day about Youngin Lips and his brother. This is his brother. His brother ended up at Clarence, and then the boys were arming up because they wanted to get him. Yeah, not because of him. The boys actually said he was a good bloke. You know, they got along with him, but they were gonna get him because of his brother Youngin Lips was representing, or he was repping OC. You know what I mean? And these are the repercussions that's gonna come with living this type of life. You know, you're not the only one that's gonna get hurt in the process. It's also your family members and your friends. You know, there's a situation that happened in the past, Cobstar, where me and my two brothers were sitting inside prison, and while all three of us were locked up, an incident happened with my sister, where a young gangbanger like started threatening her. And Spitzy, appreciate you. And I said, let me do this puzzle, guys. Yeah, the boys, not an AI. Let's appreciate you. Lulu, yeah. And that's what I was saying, like, this incident that happened with my sister when she was outside, some young gangbanger, Ace, like, I know who it is, but I'm not going to mention his name. He threatened my sister, and where was her brothers? What, gangstering on inside prison? We couldn't be there for our sister, you know? We sent the boys to go and see her, make sure she was all right, but what was that going to do? You know, she was at home, she was like, yeah, I'm good, it's all right. Like, the guy threatened me, you know, but the train station guard got involved and pushed him away, and I got in the train and I left. Brayden. So this is what I'm explaining to all you youngsters out there that's running amok, you know? Like, don't forget that there's repercussions to your actions, you know? Like, whatever you do, like, don't think of it as coming back to bite you in the ass. Think of it as Zeno. Think of it as this will come back and bite all your loved ones in the ass. Sano, appreciate you. Trust me, a lot of the urdumays that's happened in the last 5 years, a few of them I know for a fact, they weren't even in and amongst the drama that occurred. The reason why they got O'Shea was because they were with that family or because they were with that crew. But they actually didn't have dramas with these people. But they got O'Shea for being a part of this freaking this life when they chose to roll with this family. Yeah. Hence my reason for saying every single week to all the 9 to 5 guys, like, trust me, peace, God, appreciate you, God. I say it all the time, like, you know, if you're living a 9 to 5 life, good on ya. But if you're trying to balance a bit of selling on the side, trust me, where once the cops catch ya and you get locked up, you're gonna regret it. You know, I think one of the biggest things that I learned is Mr. My man that I learned was I regret what I put it. I regret getting a criminal record. You know, like a criminal record stopped me from doing a lot of things, and it stops me from doing a lot of things today. You know, yeah, I appreciate you. Like if I didn't have succeeded a long time ago, but due to my criminal record, I'm not able to do much. Tommy, and this is the same thing that I explain to all you youngsters out there all the time, you know. Number one, I don't want you guys to go to jail. Number two, if you got a criminal record and you're a juvenile, it doesn't matter because that criminal record doesn't stand. Once you turn 18, that juvenile record is all like disappears. Yeah, it'll still be in the system, but it disappears. No one will ever know that you done juvie. So once you turn 18, there you go. Like you have a new start to your life. Start fresh. No, it's on you. But if you do have a criminal record, like all I'm asking is that you hear me out and you just sit with your partner or with your parents and discuss what you're going through right now. Because one of the most important things is talking to someone that cares. You know, whoever it is, like reach out and talk to them. You know, I get over 100 messages a day and I can't freaking keep up with it. A lot of people are asking me for help and asking me to reach out. You know, I apologize from the bottom of my heart if I don't message back or if I don't call back or call when you ask. Right? I get so many messages, so I'm trying my best to keep up. And if I don't, like, trust me, I will sooner or later as soon as I get to it, but it's only when I get to it. Take care. Appreciate you guys. Aaron. Young my man. Let's try to. Bro. Dude, I'll tell the story of my brother and Issa. That situation, my next live. Oh, actually, not my next live. The live after that. You know what? Because I've got the version of that story from all of Issa's mate, but I've never gotten the version of that story from my own brother. My brother doesn't talk about incidents that he's been in with me. His thing is, if he has an issue with someone and he takes care of it, it's done and dusted there. He doesn't bridge up about it unless they say something, then he'll take care of it. If you guys didn't see, there was someone that asked me to speak about the story when Esa Kafavalu, he was the leader of S2F, tried stabbing my brother at Shortland prison. And I just explained then, I know the version from Esa's side because I heard it from his own mates, but I've never heard my brother's. And I'll tell you everything about it. Oh my gosh. Who's this idiot that's talking about New Zealand? And we love yous. Appreciate you guys. Have you heard of Yogi? Is that Yogi or Yagi? Like, there's two Yagis. that I knew of inside. Yes, I've lived in Robin Vale. Yes. Yeah, I met him inside prison. Bro. You know what? A lot of boys that were locked up inside in Sydney prisons, they're all now locked up in Melbourne and Queensland. Yeah, hey, fuck, you know what? I'm here freaking talking about all this stuff, and I full forgot. Tomorrow's the big game with Samoa and Tonga. Yeah, that was James Bond. James Bond, appreciate you. S2F stands for syringe. Open. I don't know. I haven't heard from the guy since 2013, 14. Yeah. Matema Tonga Zeno. Someone just wrote, "What about Triggz versus the Sudanese boys?" I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Did someone say that they had fight with me? And C stands for, did you meet? I said, nah, sorry, I didn't meet that guy. AIDS. Whoa. Vietnam. Hey, I think someone is Vietnamese. He just wrote, Mate ma Vietnamese. Yeah, the boys. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that's been sending through gifts and everyone that's been pumping the likes. I just came on tonight just to have fun. I wasn't even here to tell any stories. I just came on here to have fun. Yo, James, love you, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, the boys. Wow. What stories you want me to tell of Ollie far out? That guy's got so many stories. He got charged with murder. Now his murder charge got dropped. Like, mate, there's story after story from all the Syrian boys, the Lebos. I think, you know what? I should tell that story about that fight. I don't know if tonight be the night. I don't want to tell it tonight because that's actually like a big story in itself. Everyone's going tonight. Yeah, I'll tell you about that on Monday. And everyone that showing love and respect by just viewing what I'm saying. Just know it is greatly appreciated.